morning. I'm so happy to be here. I am here from the beautiful Flint Hills of Northeast Kansas, where I teach at Tempe State University. I'm a literacy professor there. I teach children's literature, reading and language arts methods. I supervise student teachers. Our university has been preparing teachers for 150 years. And in my classes that I teach with undergraduate pre-service teachers, I recently published a digital multimedia textbook that I'm using with my students that they read on an iPad or a laptop that they bring with them to class. So I'm dealing with some of the same issues that we've been talking about here, only in the college classroom, which has a whole different set of problems. But I think that there are many parallels that we can bring to that discussion. So today I want to share a story about an action research study, not such a formal kind of study, but a study that I undertook that involved asking myself a lot of questions. And my first question started when my department chair gave me an iPad, and I looked at it and I said, what am I going to do with this? And maybe some of you have asked that same question when you've received a new device. Since I was teaching a class on children's literature, I decided to start looking for ebooks that I could share with my students. And like every good research study, this study started in a highly scientific way, sitting on my couch with my cat doing lots of reading of ebooks. Now, like many classroom teachers, I was provided with a device, but no money. So my next question was, what free or inexpensive ebooks are available? And we know that many parents and grandparents and teachers are asking the same question, whether they're searching for apps or ebooks to teach literacy skills or to entertain their child, say at Big Sister's soccer game or at a Dixie Band concert like Lauren was talking about yesterday. So they're looking for something to put in the hands of those children that can keep them engaged but also help them learn. Being a former elementary teacher, and because I'm working with future teachers, my next question I ask myself is, what do we know about the way ebooks are being used in schools? And one of my first realizations as I was reading several ebooks is, of course, something that we've already talked about. The definition of books are changing. The definition is changing. It's not clear-cut like it used to be. And for a person like me who loves holding that paper book, this was a bit disconcerting. Amidst time of great change, we tend to look for guideposts to kind of point us in a direction that can help us understand or make sense of change that's going on. So to answer my question about how ebooks are being used in the classroom, I considered 4 key ideas in the field of literacy. Donald Blue, a literacy researcher and theorist, believes literacy is deictic, or it is constantly changing. What it means to be a literate person is constantly changing because we live in an age where the ways we send and receive messages are influenced by technology, which is constantly changing. As Don would say, to have been literate yesterday does not ensure that one is fully literate today. And those of you who use Apple devices over the past week or so have had to do some updates, and maybe you felt that feeling of not feeling like you were that literate with your device. On one day, you knew how to find information on your device, and the next day, you felt like you were all thumbs, trying to figure out where things were. That's that idea of what it takes for us to make sense of or to create messages is constantly in flux. Next, I turn to the research of a colleague in Kansas, Lotta Larson. She was hoping to be here today but wasn't able to do so, but I wanted to share some of her work. And she studies elementary age students and their habits and preferences with reading on the Kindle. In our most recent study, students were asked if reading on a Kindle supported their reading comprehension, and one student said, yes, because I could make notes and highlight and make the words bigger. I like it better because you can't actually highlight in a real book. I like the font setting because some people need big font and some need small, which I thought was really insightful. When she asked students their preferences between paper books and ebooks, one student responded, I like reading on the Kindle because it has many tools and it is also fun. Another student said, I think I would like reading the actual book because I'm used to turning pages and I like the way the paper feels when I turn a page. And another student said, I like reading both paper books and on the Kindle. I don't really care what type of book as long as I can read it. So alongside Lava's work, I also conducted a study of my own with college students that I work with to better understand their experiences and attitudes with ebooks. Frankly, I was shocked at the results. I had assumed that because they're very, I'm going to say, fanatical about Facebook and Twitter, that they had more experiences with ebooks than they actually did. And we know from the 2013 Scholastic Kids and Family Reading Report that 46% of children have read an ebook. So our future teachers are just barely keeping pace with what children are doing. And if you look back at Lava's statistic that 81% of the children preferred reading on a Kindle. So you have 81% of the children with this preference. You have 48% of the future teachers who are ebook readers. There's a gap there, and that gap is posing a big problem for us. And in the group A that I was in yesterday, we talked about how do we provide supports for teachers in using ebooks with their students. And I would say those supports have to be built in to the teacher training, the teacher preparation, so that these new teachers are equipped to meet their students and to lead their students into this digital revolution of children's literature. Another guidepost that I considered are the Common Core State Standards, which are controversial to say the least, but they do call for literacy learning through the use of technology. And presently, whether we like these standards or not, they are guiding our thinking in the field of reading. And there's a lot of aspects to the standards that can be applied to ebooks, but I want to focus on just one, and that is the idea of text complexity, which is how friendly or unfriendly a text is to a reader. And so a text can build in things, supports, to help a reader understand, or it can have supports in it that make understanding quite challenging. The Common Core Standards are bringing that topic to the surface, and I would say that educators are giving closer attention to the features of a text and to the elements that make a text more complex, like the challenging vocabulary or complex sentence structure, or whether the illustrations and the text match closely or not. I think ebooks play a key role in this discussion about text complexity because the digital elements of an ebook, in my opinion, add an additional layer of complexity to a text. So the more ebooks I read, the more I began to notice that not all ebooks are created equally, which you've probably figured out yourselves. There are issues of format, such as if an ebook is static or interactive, but there are also issues of quality, and especially quality of content. And I wondered to myself, what is being done to ensure quality of content? Previously, an ebook passed through several gatekeepers. You had the author, you had the publisher, you had the librarian, who often was the one who made the choices of which print books made it into the school library. You had the teacher who then made choices about books that were used with the whole class or books that made it into the classroom library. All of those were gates along the way to help ensure quality. Now, with the proliferation of self-publishing, amateur authors and inexperienced publishers are getting their works into the hands of children in a more direct way. So now, who are the gatekeepers? Distributors of ebooks, such as Amazon, make no distinction between professional authors and amateurs. Some might say that the rating system in the App Store would be a good way to distinguish quality, and those books would rise to the top based on that rating system. And in this book that I have here, The Case of the Missing Banana, over 4,000 people rated this book. It had an average of 4 stars. And you can see that there are some issues of the quality of content, some punctuation issues, some capitalization issues, not the best model to present to children. But yet, when I read through the reviews for the book, I went through the first 50 comments. Not a single person made a comment about the quality of the text. So it's not a system that we can rely on. Issues of appropriate content appear in books, like this one, in the quirky, nerdy, and entirely original Elementary School Adventures of Derpy Dirk, which is a less sophisticated version of the Diary of a Wimpy Kid or Captain Underpants. Issues of quality appear, and I'll let you just read that for a second.
There's a hashtag.
Because of the system that we have in place, we really have no way of knowing the quality that we're going to encounter until we get the book. But as I read more ebooks, I came to realize that these issues of quality are not strictly about free books versus ebooks that are paid for. Or they're not just ebooks that are published by novice authors or inexperienced ebook publishers. Some new digital authors have outstanding ebooks, and on any given day, any app or ebook could be available for free. I signed up for newsletters like Pixel of Ink and BookBub that send out emails of free ebooks, and there's also apps such as Apps Gone Free and other ones that people use to keep abreast of what's available that's free. But this is not necessarily the deciding factor. So these issues of quality began nagging at my thoughts, causing me to wonder what supports are in place to give guidance to caregivers, parents, grandparents, teachers who have limited funds but want to find quality ebooks to share with children. I knew that if I found it challenging, maybe there were some others who also found this to be a challenge. So I searched the internet, did a little reading to see what other people were saying about this issue, and I came across a blog entitled GeekDad by Daniel Donahue, who describes himself as a writer, researcher, and a geek dad who really likes technology. And Daniel created the company Better Apps that reviews children's apps for publishers and users, and he helped to write the Children's App Manifesto, and also authored an article that was in the Huffington Post about issues with children's ebooks. So through Skype and email conversations between the United States and Australia, where Daniel lives, we developed a prototype for a tool that I'm sharing today. After the initial design, over 90 educators worked with us to help mold the tool into what I'm going to share with you. Teachers, librarians, principals, literacy professors, pre-service teachers, all received some training on using ebooks in the classroom and looking for quality in ebooks, and then gave us input that helped us revise the tool until it's the one that I'm going to present here. So this is available on the blog or the conference if you want to access it. The tool is meant to be a broad guide for evaluating the quality of ebooks. I know there are some other tools available. Goran talked about a tool that he's put together, and I know other people are working in this area. Our hope is that the tool that we've created is useful for educators and caregivers who are making ebook selections for children. We're open to feedback. If you want to try it out, take a look at it, send us suggestions. We're trying to continue to mold it so that it's a tool that is very useful and can be applied to lots of different kinds of ebooks and apps. I know that to do that, you really can't delve in too deeply, but sometimes it helps as just kind of a first swipe to take a look at some of the broad issues. So this story that I'm sharing with you started out as a story about an action research study, and like all good studies, as questions are answered, new questions are raised. So now I'm wondering, as I'm thinking more about ebooks in the classroom and using them with children, how are ebooks impacting the ways that we read, the processes that we use for reading? How are we making decisions about what to read next, where to go, what to click on, and how are we using that to take in information and make meaning? And then when we do that, when we read an ebook, how does that change our view of ourselves as a reader? If we're able to access information in ways beyond just reading the text, then what do we think of ourselves? How does our perception of us as a reader change? And I guess those are questions for future studies. So.